Queen Amara, he said, his voice a blend of restraint and yearning, do you think I have not seen how you look at me when no one is watching? His words hung in the air, pleading yet broken. This cannot continue. We are tempting the gods. As his lips met mine, the ground beneath us seemed to tremble. I should have heeded the whispers carried by the wind that night. I should have listened to the dread creeping into my heart. But love, so forbidden, so all-consuming, leaves no room for reason. Adekoya, my kingdom, is a place where the past and the present intertwine like the vines that climb the ancient Baobab tree at its heart. Nestled along the winding river's edge, Adekoya is a land of fertile soil, rich traditions, and people as resilient as the earth beneath their feet. The air is thick with the scent of spices, rain, and the stories passed down through generations. The rhythm of our town pulses from the forge, where men like Kwame shape molten metal, their sweat mingling with fire, creating tools and treasures that sustain us all. I am Amara, Queen of Adekoya. They say my beauty is like the sun's light upon the river, gentle, radiant, and captivating. But my worth lies not only in my appearance. It is the wisdom I have inherited from the gods, wisdom that has shaped me through years of observing both the divine and the ways of my people. As the beloved wife of King Otieno, I have been a pillar of grace and poise, standing beside him through both our triumphs and our tribulations. Yet beneath the crown, beneath the silks of my gowns, a fire burns within me, a fire that cannot be extinguished. The responsibilities of the throne, the expectation of my people, cannot quiet the ache in my heart. For there is something more I seek, something that even the royal title I wear cannot fill. It began on a day like any other. I stood in Kwame's forge, watching as he worked the glowing metal. The fire roared, its light dancing across his skin, illuminating every ripple of muscle as he hammered the iron. His sweat was trailing down his broad chest, and I couldn't take my eyes off him. Kwame was the kind of man women whispered about in the market, tall and powerful, with a chiseled jaw and a quiet intensity that commanded attention. He carried himself with unassuming confidence, a presence that lingered even when he wasn't trying. I should have turned away. I should have handed him the ceremonial staff and left. Instead, I stood frozen, my breath hitching as my eyes betrayed me, lingering on the lines of his body. When he looked up, his dark eyes met mine. For a fleeting moment, something flickered in his gaze, curiosity, perhaps, but he said nothing. The staff will be ready by tomorrow, he said, his voice deep and steady. I nodded, muttered my thanks, and fled the forge. That night, as I lay beside King Otieno, my husband, trembling from the encounter, my thoughts betrayed me. King Otieno was a powerful man, but his touch was cold, his kisses devoid of fire. As he moved above me, all I could see was Kwame, his chest, his hands, his lips. The desire burning within me was unlike anything I had ever known, and I bit my lip to stifle a moan that had nothing to do with my husband. As he entered me, all I could think of was of Kwame giving me that pleasure. And this was a pleasure I had never experienced since I married the king. This excited the king to do more to please me. The following day, a servant was sent by the king to go and take back the ceremonial staff. Therefore, I had no reason to go back to Kwame's workshop. Days turned into weeks, and my obsession grew. While King Otieno attended council meetings, I would find myself lying on my mat, my fingers trailing over my skin, imagining Kwame's touch. My fingers sometimes find their way in between my legs, longing for the forbidden. My dreams were filled with forbidden visions of him, and I often woke in the middle of the night, my body burning with unfulfilled desire. It became unbearable. I had to see him again. Under the pretense of needing another bangle repaired, I returned to the forge. Kwame greeted me politely, but the tension in the air was so thick that you could feel it. He knew why I was there. You can send the servants. Why do you keep coming, my queen? He asked, his voice low and filled with restraint. I held him and pulled him to his inner room and locked the room since the key was already in the lock. I stepped closer, my heart pounded. Do you not feel it too? He turned away, gripping the edge of his workbench. You are the king's wife. This cannot happen. Do not speak to me of what cannot happen, I said, my voice trembling. Speak to me of what you want. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then, slowly, he turned to face me. His resolve wavered as I stepped closer, my hand grazing his chest. He closed his eyes, his jaw tightening. Kwame, I whispered, do you think I have not seen how you look at me when no one is watching? Amara, Kwame replied, I am a man of principles. I have promised myself I will not take a woman until I am ready to marry my one true love. Then marry me, I said, stepping so close I could feel his breath on my skin. His resolve wavered, but he shook his head. This is madness. His tone both pleading and broken. This cannot continue. We are tempting the gods. I stepped closer, my hand grazing the corded muscles of his arm. It is too late for that, Kwame, I whispered. The gods have already spoken, and they have said that you belong to me. The moonlight illuminated the forge as shadows danced like restless spirits. Kwame pulled me into his arms, his restraint crumbling. With a growl of surrender, he pulled me against him. My pulse quickened. For a moment, I couldn't speak. But then his voice softened, his tone reverent. You are more than beautiful, Amara. Your skin glows like the finest silk under the sun, your lips hold a secret that men would wage wars to uncover, and your eyes, they see into a man's soul. When you walk through the village, the wind itself follows you, desperate to touch your hair. You are the kind of woman the gods themselves envy. My knees threatened to buckle as his words enveloped me like a spell. I wanted to respond, but the weight of his gaze pinned me in place. His lips claimed mine, and in that moment, the world faded away. I felt the ground beneath us tremble. I cannot, he began, his voice trembling. You belong to the king. You belong to him. But my thoughts screamed, no, Kwame. I belong to you. While crying he continued repeatedly, this cannot happen. He then entered me as gently as a breeze. I could feel his huge muscles tearing me apart and making me want it more. Even before he entered, his gentle strong arms that was playing with my breast and nipples made me so wet. I was dripping all over the place such that the floor beneath me could feel my wetness. This was like nothing I had even imagined. I was dazzled out of my brain till we climaxed to orgasm. It was the beginning of something we both knew would destroy us. I should have listened to the wind that carried warning whispers that night. I should have heeded the dread that crept into my heart. But love so forbidden, so all-consuming, leaves no room for reason. What followed was a passion so intense, so forbidden, that it consumed us both. For months, Kwame and I lived in secret, meeting under the Baobab tree where the world seemed to disappear. His hands explored every inch of me, his lips igniting flames across my skin. For the first time, I felt truly alive. But secrets cannot remain hidden forever. King Otieno was no fool. Whispers of our meetings reached his ears, and his suspicion grew. One night, as Kwame and I lay beneath the Baobab, King Otieno emerged from the shadows, spear in hand. His face was a mask of rage. Kwame stepped in front of me, shielding me. This is my fault, my king. Punish me, but please spare her. King Otieno laughed bitterly. At least you still know I am your king. You have both defiled my honor. Before I could react, King Otieno lunged. The gods themselves intervened, the ground trembling as the Baobab tree groaned and a blinding light erupted from its roots. When the light faded, Kwame was gone. The villagers claimed the gods had taken him, and my punishment was to live with the memory of what we had done. I woke abruptly, drenched in sweat. It had all been a dream, a cruel illusion conjured by my restless mind. Everything that followed the day I visited Kwame's forge to deliver the ceremonial staff had been nothing more than a figment of my imagination. Yet the emotions felt so real, so vivid, that they clung to me, haunting my very soul. Determined to prevent any misstep, I vowed never to return to the forge, nor to let my thoughts stray to anyone other than my king. Surely, the gods had sent me this dream as a warning, a revelation to guide me back to the rightful path. Years passed. King Otieno fell ill and succumbed to his sickness, leaving the kingdom without a ruler. To my astonishment, the council announced Kwame as his successor. Unknown to many, Kwame was of royal lineage, an illegitimate son of King Otieno's late brother. With most of the rightful heirs to the throne leading lives that rendered them unfit to rule, the responsibility of leading Adekoya as its king fell to him. There was one condition: Kwame had to marry before ascending the throne. At the grand ceremony, 7 noble women were presented to him, their faces veiled in anticipation. But Kwame's eyes sought only one woman. "Amara," he said, his voice resolute. Gasps echoed through the crowd as I froze in disbelief. The council deliberated for hours but ultimately allowed him to follow his heart. Our wedding was the grandest the kingdom had ever seen. That night, as we lay together for the first time as husband and wife, it was as though the gods themselves rejoiced. Kwame's touch was tender yet powerful, and when he made love to me, it was as if the world melted away, leaving only the two of us. Kwame's reign was unprecedented, ushering in an era of prosperity. But tradition soon demanded he take 6 additional wives. Though he resisted fiercely, the pressure from the elders was relentless. In time, he considered marrying 6 other women. But in his heart, I was his first and only queen, the one who had stolen his soul beneath the Baobab tree. King Kwame's reign has been the most successful in the history of Adekoya. Our love blossomed, defying the odds and flourishing like the fertile lands of our kingdom. Together, we work tirelessly to ensure prosperity and peace, guiding our people with wisdom and compassion. Though tradition demanded that Kwame take additional wives, his heart remained mine. I was his confidant, his partner, and his queen in every way that mattered. The other wives respected our bond, knowing it was unbreakable, and they too contributed to the kingdom's success in their own ways. Under Kwame's leadership, Adekoya thrived. Trade routes expanded, education flourished, and the people lived in harmony. The Baobab tree, once a symbol of forbidden love and divine wrath, now stood as a testament to resilience and redemption. Its roots, deep and enduring, mirrored the foundation we built for our kingdom. As the years passed, we grew not only as rulers but as soulmates. Our love, forged in the fires of trials and tempered by the grace of forgiveness, became a legend that would be told for generations. The story of King Kwame and Queen Amara, 2 hearts that overcame fate, united by a love so powerful it changed the course of Adekoya forever. And so, as I sit beneath the Baobab tree in the twilight of my years, I smile. The gods may have tested us, but in the end, they blessed us. Our legacy endures, and our love will forever be remembered in the whispers of the wind and the roots of this ancient tree.